Yo, in this video, I'm going to be going over exactly how you can achieve any goal in 2025 by mastering systems. I won't waste any time. Let's get right into it. Here's what we're going to cover. My story, who am I, why you should listen to me, why systems are superior to willpower, how exactly you can organize discipline, and some act recommendations I have to make this a seamless process. Without further ado, let's begin. Here's a pro tip, right? Watch this on double speed so that you can get the same amount of value in half the time. My story. Who am I? Why the heck should you listen to what I'm saying? Well, essentially, I'm somebody who used to be an extreme procrastinator. I'd spend hours upon hours playing video games, doom scrolling, watching anime. That essentially took up my entire day. It's all I would do. It's all I would think about. And obviously, if those are the actions I'm taking, if these are the habits that I have, then I wasn't making any progress. Basically, I had no goals. Drifting through life, letting things pass me by, essentially just not really going anywhere. And because of that, eventually I got fed up with myself. I got fed up with the direction I was going. I got fed up with the progress, my lack of progress, right? With where my life was going, that I basically decided to lock in. And obviously that wasn't a very easy progress, right? Due to my laziness and my procrastinative nature, it was very difficult for me to maintain my consistency, on the habits that would actually bring me progress, right? It was very difficult to do. But eventually I thought to myself, well, why not use this laziness to my advantage? Which led me to create a system that made discipline easier than procrastination, right? It made it harder for me not to do the work. Made discipline so easy that it was harder for me not to work, right? Basically, I used laziness to my advantage, to where, okay, I'm lazy, I'm going to do the easy thing, and the easy thing for me at that point was discipline. And because of this system, I was able to accomplish a few things. For starter, my personal brand, as you can see here, I think at the time of this video, I'm almost at like 1.5 thousand subscribers on Instagram. I've hit like 50K, and I've gotten into the best shape of my life, right? All because I mastered discipline, mastered systems, essentially. So, here exactly, you might be wondering, well, what the heck is a system? Why are systems better than willpower? Well, for starters, willpower is just trash. It's finite. Every day, you start with a limited amount of mental energy, and decision fatigue will build as time goes on, right? You wake up, then you got to decide, oh, do I want to get out of bed? Do I not want to get out of bed? Then you're losing willpower there. Then you got to decide, okay, what am I going to eat for breakfast? What am I going to wear today? What am I going to do at what time, right? As you're making more decisions, you're losing more and more willpower to the point where you just don't have any left, and then you can't get anything done, right? Relying on willpower isn't going to get you anywhere, which is why systems are superior. Because with systems, they create the default path, right? It makes making the right decision easier than making the wrong one. As an example, let's say you're on a diet, right? You're on a meal plan, and you've planned out your meals for the week. That way, when you get hungry, you don't have to decide, what am I going to eat right now? Am I going to eat this donut, or am I going to eat my chicken and rice? If you've already made the chicken and rice and it's already there, you just got to warm it up. You're like, okay, well, it's already done. I'm going to go and eat that, right? It makes it very simple for you to make the correct decision because you've already planned it out beforehand. The system is set in place to where you just naturally do the right thing. Discipline is no longer a choice. Will I be disciplined? Will I not be disciplined? Discipline is just the natural option, right? It's just what you do. It becomes something you do rather than something that you choose. The discipline systems rather being a process, and with processes you can get consistent results. When you have a streamlined process where you're able to get that same result, that same win, day in and day out, eventually you are going to achieve this goal that you've set out for yourself. And there are actually three components of an effective system, the first of which is automation, using tools like Google Calendar, habit trackers, and reminders to automate these repetitive tasks, right? Basically, you can, if you work at a certain time, working out at a certain time, eating at a certain time, right? And when you do things at a certain time, you want to use automation to make these tasks seamless, right? Make them as simple as possible, make them as frictionless as possible. Then it's just not something you think about. It's just something you do. Next, there's your environment. You have to set up your environment to support your goals, right? Like in Atomic Habits, right? If you're trying to get that consistent at working out, then have your workout clothes, your gym bag, everything you need at the door. Now, the way environment works is I want you to imagine that there's this library, and then imagine there's your bedroom, right? Which of these would you be more likely to get working? The library, right? Because when you go into a library, you see all these books, right? It's kind of like it's this environment where you're kind of programmed to do studying, to do work, that type of thing. But in your bedroom, it's like, okay, this is where I sleep, this is where I chill. When you go in your bedroom, you're just naturally, more likely to laze around, not really get much done. Right? Your environment is very important. If you can structure your environment in a way where you're naturally doing the thing, that you're trying to do, whether that be working or working out, whatever the case may be. If you set up your environment to support that habit, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that habit. And lastly, there are feedback loops. You need to regularly review and adjust your system based on whether or not it's working. As an example, if you got a system, it's like, okay, the second I wake up and we do some focus work and that system has not been working at all for you, it would be very silly of you to keep doing that system and expect a different result, right? Insanity. Sanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting something different to happen, right? So you want to review and adjust. Okay, if that's not working, then try something else and keep following that process until you found a system that works best for you. So you might be wondering, okay, Lem, that's cool and all, but how exactly do I make an effective system like that? Well, that leads me into the 5-step framework that I've created to organize discipline. Now, the first step in that framework is big picture planning, right? We're going to go from the top down, essentially, and that starts with the big picture. So first, you need to define your core goal, right? Choose 1 to 3 meaningful goals that you want to accomplish in 2025. Maybe you want to, add 10 pounds of muscle. Maybe you want to get straight A's. Maybe you want to, lean out your physique, right? Whatever the case is, just choose 1 to 3 main things that you want to accomplish in 2025 and hold on to these, because these are going to be your guiding principles. They're going to direct you on this path that you're about to embark on. Next, your goals have to be specific, otherwise your brain won't be able to process how to achieve it. So, as an example, instead of saying something like, oh, I want to get in shape, like, what exactly does get in shape mean? Are you trying to gain weight? Are you trying to lose weight? In shape means different things for different people, which is why you have to specify it. If in shape for you is being lean, right, and you're on the heavier side, then obviously in shape would be you losing weight. But let's say you're very skinny like I used to be, well, then in shape for you would be gaining weight, right? By getting specific, you know what exactly you're trying to achieve. Then your brain's able to put the pieces of the puzzle together and figure out what exactly you need to do. What are the actions I need to take in order to achieve this goal? Next, you want to set a deadline. You need to give yourself a time limit, because if you just say, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, but not give yourself a time limit, you're like, oh, I've got time, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow will come. You're like, oh, I've got time, I'll do it tomorrow. You'll keep pushing it off because there's no deadline set in stone. As an example, let's, stick with the example of gaining 10 pounds of muscle. Okay, I'm going to gain 10 pounds of muscle in exactly 90 days or in exactly 60 days. When you set that deadline, now you're like, oh, I've got time. You're like, oh, I've only got 90 days. I'm going to do this now. I've only got 89 days. I'm going to do this now. I've only got 88 days. I'm going to do this now, right? Deadlines add urgency, and with urgency, you're a lot more likely to get something done, right? It's going to incentivize you to take action rather than sitting around and wasting all of 2025. That's not what we want to do. We want to win 2025. And the way you win in 2025 is by using deadlines. And last, you need to establish a why. You need to connect your goals to one of your core values. This is going to help you push through the times of struggle, right? Because having a strong why there's like this Friedrich Nietzsche quote: if he who has a strong why can bear almost anyhow. I'm not sure if that's the exact quote, but it's something like that. When you know why you're going to do something, you're gonna figure out how to do it. As an example, let's say I told you to run 10 miles every single day because running is fun, right? You'd be like, why the heck? Like, you probably wouldn't want to do it, right? Something difficult like running 10 miles. It's pretty hard. You're just going to be like, I'm not doing that. What the heck? Now, imagine I told you to run, 10 miles every single day. Or if you don't, then you're going to be sent to solitary confinement for the next 10 years of your life. Your entire family is going to get locked up, right? If you miss a single day, then you're like, oh my goodness, this is such a grave thing. So I'm going to do it because their why is that strong. And you're like, you don't want to go to prison. You don't want your family to hate you, right? You're just going to run the 10 miles every day, right? You'd be a lot more likely to do it because there's a strong why behind it. Having when you connect that why to one of your core values, then you're going to get that thing done. Next, step 2 is monthly mapping. You need to break your goal down, because big goals, right? You need to break your yearly goal down into an actionable monthly milestone, because big goals are kind of large. Imagine yourself looking to the top of this mountain. You're at the bottom and you don't know how to climb to the top. You're just not going to act. But when you break your goal down into monthly milestones, it becomes a lot more manageable. For example, let's say I told you to, tell me, like, imagine I asked you, how are you going to make $1 million a year? That, if you're not already a millionaire, it'd be pretty difficult for you to figure out how to do that. But let's say I asked you, okay, well, how are you going to make $100 this month? That's a lot more easier for you to picture. It's like, oh, okay, I just got to do this, got to do that, and they're cool. I got $100, right? When you break the goal down, things become a lot more manageable, which is why you want to break your yearly goal down into these monthly milestones. Then you want to prioritize, right? The Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. You need to focus on the 20% of tasks that will drive 80% of the progress towards the yearly goal. Because one of the reasons why people don't make progress because they're focusing too much on this 80%, right? These random tasks. Oh, I gotta optimize this and that and the third, and then just not really doing anything. Let's stick with the example of working out. So let's say your goal is to gain 10 pounds of muscle in 90 days, right? That 80% that's not really doing anything. It's like, oh, what's the best workout plan? Oh, and I gotta optimize this and that and the third. It's like, oh, I have to actually, like it's like trying to over optimize instead of just, okay, what you gotta do to gain 10 pounds of muscle? Okay, you gotta eat more food. Okay, I gotta work out and I gotta sleep, right? Okay, the three things I gotta focus on. If you're doing those things, then you're going to gain weight, right? Focusing on that 20%, which oftentimes ends up being the simple things that are going to get you to the majority of the way to that result. Next, you need to track, right? Because what isn't tracked doesn't grow, right? It's not maintained. So use a simple tracker, a simple journal to monitor the completion of task, and this is going to help you build consistency and momentum, right? Because when you check out boxes, when you see that you're making progress day by day, not only is this going to motivate you, but you're gonna want to keep that streak up, right? You're gonna become a lot more consistent because you're literally seeing yourself progress along. You're seeing yourself take step by step, get closer to this goal, and you're gonna be a lot more consistent, and that momentum is gonna build. Snowball effect. Thirdly, we have weekly wins, right? So next you want to like, following that same pattern, we broke it down from year to month. Now we're going to go from month to week. You need to plan your week to maximize efficiency and avoid getting overwhelmed or burnt out, because that's another one of the major problems that a lot of people face is, doing too much, right? Where they get, they try and do all of this stuff, they end up burning out, and now all of their momentum is completely killed. You got to start over from zero because you pushed yourself over the edge. So one thing, a very great way of avoiding that is by time blocking, right? Using Google Calendar, whatever calendar app that you like to use to plan or time block your Pareto test. Pareto test meaning that those tasks that 20% that gives you 80% of the results, right? Blocking out those things, then being flexible, right? Don't just be like, okay, at 6 o'clock I'm waking up. At 6:01 I'm brushing my teeth. At 6:02 I'm drinking a cup of coffee. At 6:03 I'm at my computer. I'm doing focus work. I'm doing that until 7 o'clock. Then at exactly 7:01:59 I'm walking into my house to go to the gym. Right? If you literally like plan out every single minute of your day, you're not only gonna get burnt out, but you're not gonna accomplish all of the things because life is very unpredictable. Right? Your dog might jump out the window and now he's gone. It's like, oh man, I was gonna go hit the gym. Now I gotta go find my dog. You might be driving, and then there's like an hour of traffic to your destination that's setting you back an hour, right? You got to plan for these unpredictable things, which is why you want your work blocks, right? Your calendar to be a bit flexible. And as an example, here's a picture of like just one of my normal days, right? Wake up at 6, carry out my morning routine from around 6 to 6:30. Then my first work block from 7 to 9, and after that I take a walk. Now, while this looks like it's exactly blocked out. Normally, I can get these, my first work block, I can usually finish in around an hour 30 minutes. That leaves me some extra time because let's say there's a day where it takes me longer than that, right? I've accounted for all of these things. Then my walk, it's usually like 40-50 minutes, but I've got that hour just in case. Okay, maybe I'm late to the walk, or maybe I decide to walk more than I normally do, right? Just planning these things in. Then my next work block, it's again not exactly like it's from 10 to 12, but sometimes I'll finish sooner, sometimes I'll finish later, right? Just accounting, just having that block there is like, this is what I'm going to be doing within this time. If I finish early, cool, I can do something else. Or if I take longer, then I'll just take that longer time and, kind of just readjust as the day goes on. Lastly, step number 4 is daily discipline. Now, this is the most important part. Because everything you want for your future, everything that you see yourself, all these goals that you achieve, all the things that you accomplish, fully are dependent on what you do in the present moment, right? You are not going to get anywhere if you don't focus on the present, right? What am I going to do today to take a step further? What am I going to do today to get one step closer to my goal? And basically taking that mindset into every single day, where every day you're taking steps, and then you look back, you're like, oh my goodness, I just made 1,000,000 steps towards my goal. I'm actually past the goal. I've overachieved the goal because you focused on the present moment. No, and then daily discipline, right? You got to set the tone for the day. Having a morning routine sets the tone, right? It puts you in that right frame of mind. For me, I like to get up, I like to read my Bible, right? Start my day off with the word, and then it kind of sets the tone for me. It's like, okay, I did that. I'm gonna do some focus work. gonna get, gonna take my walk, gonna, do some learning, right? Recharge my brain, that type of thing. It's like it sets the tone for the day, and once I've set that tone, I know how exactly my day is gonna play out, right? The days when I mess up my morning routine, I find that it's it kind of just throws the day off, right? When I'm able to get up, when I'm able to get that thing done, it kind of like puts my mind in this right frame where it's like, okay, I did that, now I can do everything else, right? Really, really setting that tone for your day. Next, you want to eat the frog, right? You want to finish the most important, the most difficult task first thing in the morning. This is essentially cleansing your productivity palette, right? You wake up, you get ready to work, then you're going to be more likely to get other things done, right? If you do something very hard, essentially the things after that are going to appear easier. It's like the frog analogy. Imagine you're having dinner, Gordon Ramsay's cooking up your favorite meal, but then on your plate is this frog, right? You've got all your favorite foods, but the frog is there as well. And in this scenario, you have to eat the frog. There's no getting around it. Are you going to eat that frog first, or are you going to eat that frog last? Obviously, you want to eat the frog first. That way, you're able to cleanse your palate with all of the other good food, right? Your work essentially functioning the same way. When you do that hard thing first, like, man, I got this difficult thing out of the way, and then you got like a bunch of easy things after. You're like, oh yeah, I just did hard thing 1, easy things 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. There's like, okay, yeah, go ahead, now I'll get those right out the way because you did that hard thing first. Yes. Next comes batching, right? You want to handle all your similar tasks in a single session rather than kind of just doing them throughout the day. For me, I like to block in my content. I like to block in the times I'm working on my business, block in the times I'm doing homework, whatever the case may be. And when I blocked out these things, it's like, okay, at this time I'm working, at this time I'm taking a walk, or I'm working out, at this time I'm doing homework, at this time I'm working on my business, right? It's like my mind kind of like, prepares itself to do that thing at that time, and I'm a lot more efficient, I'm a lot more productive, and it just goes a lot better. Lastly, you want to reflect, right? Ask yourself, what worked today? What did I just hit my mic? I don't know if I heard that. Ask yourself, what worked today? What didn't work today? Then adjust accordingly, right? If you had a day where okay, I tried waking up and I'm getting straight to work, it didn't work. I sat around and I just scrolled on my phone. Okay, maybe tomorrow I don't have your phone in your room, right? Basically, adjusting based on the feedback you get throughout the day, right? If something works, congratulations, keep doing that thing. If it doesn't work, then change it, do something different. Excuse me whilst I drink some water. My water bottle's a bit broken, that's why it sounds like that. Besides the point. Yes. Lastly, you want to review and adjust, right? You want to weekly review, right? Reflect on your wins, setbacks, things you learned, and adjust for the next week, right? If you found that there was something that was very effective that you just ended up trying randomly, then include that in your plan for the next week. If you discover there was something that you were doing that just didn't work at all, maybe don't include that in the next week, unless you want to fail next week, right? If you want to fail, if you willingly want to fail, then I say do all of the things that didn't work and just keep doing those things over and over again, right? Guaranteed failure percentage. Next, you want to reassess your monthly milestones. Ask yourself, am I on track? If not, then what exactly can I change to get on track, right? If you find that you're taking a little bit straying the path towards your goal, then figure out what is causing you to do that, and then change it, and keep changing it until you find that thing that sets you on that straight path to getting where you want to be in life. Next, celebrating the small wins, right? Reinforce this progress by acknowledging your achievements, right? Whenever you do something well, then celebrate that. Maybe go out, hang out with your friends, take yourself out to eat, whatever the case is for you, right? Celebrate these small wins, right? When you do well, that needs to be rewarded, because then your brain's going to start to say, okay, I did well, I'm going to keep doing well so I can keep keeping this reward, right? Kind of, using your dopamine in a good way. It's like spike that dopamine when something good happens. When you do something good, you're going to be more likely to do something good in the future, right? It's very, it's very effective, right? Next comes iteration. This one is not a one size fits all thing. You have to constantly experiment to figure out what is going to work best for you. Because everybody's got their own cup of tea in a way, right? If some people, they're able to work first thing in the morning, others aren't able to do that. If that's not you, then find out what works best for you. You got to find, your own cup of tea, basically. And once you do, congratulations, you've got your system that you got your system that is going to carry you into the future, into becoming the best possible version of yourself, achieving all of your goals, building that life that you truly wanted to live. Here comes some app recommendations. I got 3 apps that make systemizing discipline very, very easy. First one of those is very common. It's Notion, right? Everybody's heard of Notion. I like to use Notion to plan out my more so my work tasks, right? My content, business, that type of thing. Notion's where I handle all that stuff. It's where I have all that stuff. Where it's just I just have it open. I go to it, boom. I can get straight to work. It's not really much thinking going into it. Next, there's Google Calendar. By far, probably one of the best app recommend. Well, it's only three, but I'd say it's solid number one and number two. Right, basically, Google Calendar, like I showed you guys earlier, is how I block out my days. Right, it helps me stay on track throughout the day. I get the reminder, okay, it's time for my walk. All right, cool, I'm going to walk. Oh, it's time for my second work block. All right, cool, I'm working now. Right, basically, blocking out my days so I don't have to think about, okay, what am I gonna do next? I just had some focus work. What do I do? And just like there's no decision. It's like it's already predetermined, right? My days follow the same pattern. It's like I don't have to think about what I'm doing at 5 o'clock, what I'm doing at 6 o'clock. It's already determined, right? I just go and I do that thing. Next is a pro tip most people don't know about. There's actually this app on your phone. If you want to like turn on your phone, I've got an Android, so I'm gonna describe this how you'd use an Android. You like you swipe up, you want a little search bar, you want to click that, and you want to type notes. And when you go to this notes app, right, you want to create a new note. And actually, there's this function where you can make like a checkbox. What you want to do is open that checkbox, and then all the other tasks, right? Everything you got to do throughout the day, you just want to put them on that checkbox. When you do the thing, you want to check the box. And actually, something you can do is you can make a widget on your phone, and you just put it on the home screen. That one, when you turn on your phone, the first thing you see is all the stuff you got to get done throughout the day. You just boom, I did it, check, boom, I did it, check, boom, I did it, check. Basically, that's how you're going to, when you're checking out these boxes, you're like, wow, you're going to look back at the end of the day. It's like, wow, I was very productive, right? It's going to spike your dopamine again. It's like, wow, I was productive. I'm going to be even more productive tomorrow. And you're going to keep checking those boxes. You're going to keep making progress. Eventually, you are going to achieve your goal, right? So, summary, what exactly did we just cover? Who the heck is this guy? Who's this guy yapping to me in this blue shirt, right? What's this guy talking about? Why do I need systems, right? Why can't I just rely on willpower? How do I systemize discipline? Okay, you've made your point. Systems are pretty cool, but how exactly do I use this myself? Okay, you talked about systems, but like, how exactly do I implement this? Are there any apps that I can use that would make this very effective? And what if I need extra help, right? What if I actually want to make this as frictionless as possible. What if I want that exact system to make this, to guarantee that I get where I want to be? Well, if you're asking that final question, click the first link in the description. I've started this elite community, frictionless elite, where I basically go into all of this stuff, but a lot more in depth. There's weekly calls, accountability, challenges, right? Basically, you're getting direct access to me to make this 100% guaranteed, right? To truly make discipline so easy that it would be harder for you not to achieve your goals. And that's about all I've got. So hopefully you found some value in this video. Hopefully you learned something new, and hopefully you realize that systems are the key that you need in order to achieve the life that you are trying to live. If you found value in this video, click this video here, or it might be up here, wherever I decide to put it, and let's cook. Peace.